All right, so let me start a little prayer. Namami Dhanvantarim Adidevam Surasurairvandita Padapadmam Loke Jararubhayamrutyunasham Dhataramisham Vividhaushadhinam Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. All right. Okay. How many of you know what Udavarta means? Did you hear this term called Udavarta? Nobody? Somebody? I know most of you are listening in while you're probably driving or cooking or, taking kids to classes and such, I'm sure. But, it will help me understand where I'm reaching. That's all.
Is that the same as Udvartana or
No,
is it
Udvartana is the scrubbing. That is the scrubbing where you're
that's different.
scrubbing off the excess fat. Udavarta, which is the cyclone that is created in the body. Ut avarta, that's the breakage of this terminology. Right now there is so much, the pressure of air is normal, and that's why I'm able to sit down right here. All the things that are on my desk are like that. But if the pressure of the air increases, if there's a cyclone, then that is going to bring away things, pull away things along with it. That kind of cyclone that is created in the body is called Udavarta. If the normal pressure of Vata is created, maintaining the normal balance of wind element, the air element, if that is maintained, then things are all going to be wherever they're supposed to be. Your pelvic region, your organs, even organs, all of them will be where they're supposed to be. But I'm sure you've heard pelvic displacement, hip displacement, umbilical cord displacement of things. And all of this displacement happens because of the imbalance of Vata, because of the change of pressure that happens in the body. When that change of pressure happens, then that drags things from where they're supposed to be and brings them to a different place. That is normally what is the normal movement of our wind element in the body? Which direction is it supposed to be? The downward. The downward direction is the Mansi is being all of your representative. Like Arjuna was a representative for all of us while doing Bhagavad Gita. Mansi is being our representative for all of us. She's answering questions and she's telling all of us that way. All of you can do your chores while listening. But thank you so much, Mansi. So that is the downward movement because it's a gravity. It's always, I mean, Newton's law, you see that the apple drops down, and that's the normal flow of how things are supposed to be. And that's how our air element flows downwards. And this is the reason why when you eat food, your food goes down. And again, Debanti, have a question. I'll get to your question. But I'll tell you that even though you tilt upside down, your food will still go into the stomach, right? The reason being that is the normal flow of Vata in the body. So the Vata is supposed to be going like this. Even though you turn upside down, that's the same flow that's going. That's why your food, when you eat it, it's going downwards into the stomach. If any change happens to that, that's when you experience the burping. That's when you experience food coming up and all of that. Yeah? Yes, Debanti.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask you now. This is like very not knowledgeable of me, but I thought that there were different types of Vayu and Udana
Yes,
and Vyana and
correct,
all of
correct, correct. Yeah, there is, I mean, it's like saying that I am Manju, I am a Ayurvedic practitioner, I'm also a mom, I'm also a daughter, I'm also a wife, but I'm still Manju. It's the same vata that when it is acting in the pelvic area, it is the apana vayu that is creating all of this. When it is causing a circulatory motion, it's called the vyana vayu. When it is functioning with all the senses in this head region, it's called the prana vayu. So it's the same vayu that is doing different functions. And because when I go and talk to you right now, I cannot say, if I say Manju is a mom of 2 kids and she's going to talk about Udavarta today, will any of you come? Nobody will come. You'll only come if you know that Manju is an Ayurvedic practitioner, and that's when you'll come and listen to me when I'm talking about Udavarta.
That's what I was telling Preeti. So,
What were you telling Preeti, Mamta?
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's a
No worries at all.
disability.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. So this is what the classifications of Vayu is, Debanti, if that makes sense. And we can talk about all Panchapranas and how all these Panchavayus work in a different class, definitely. But the general flow of Vayu is like that. But it is as the movement of Vata is going downwards. And of course, any of you who do not understand the terminology, I'm assuming that this is our 9th class. I'm saying that this is a 9th class, and we have been building upon different concepts. We spoke about doshas, we spoke about dhatus, and we spoke about, like the general things that we can do on a daily basis, dinacharya, all of that, and we're building on a daily basis, on a monthly basis. But if any of this does not make sense, please ask me questions. That's when I can reach you properly.
So, Manju, I'm Jigisha. I'm joining
Hi,
first time,
Jigisha.
as you know. I'm new.
Yes.
So yeah, I'll go through whatever you are saying, but in case if I have any questions, we'll
Absolutely
get one-on-one. Yeah.
Please, or you can send me a text right here, meaning a chat message, and we'll talk about all of that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this wind element, I'm going to just give a brief overview. Vayu in the body is the wind element that is responsible for any movement that is happening. I'm moving my fingers right now. I'm moving my head as I'm talking to you right now. And that movement is causing because of Vayu. And that movement is happening because my Vayu is going in a proper direction. If that were to go in an opposite direction due to various reasons, that's when the hurricane is happening. That's when you either experience a lot of burping, or you experience hiccups, or you experience gastric esophageal reflux disease, GERD, gastritis, or you experience any kind of upward movement, even headaches for that matter, even eye problems, pressure that you experience in the eye. All of this could be because of Udavarta. Does that make sense, everybody? Did I establish the meaning of Udavarta that's happening? It's the opposite flow of wind that is happening in the body instead of the normal flow of wind. And this opposite flow of wind, the reasons for that could be, the reasons of creating this could create several different manifestations. Why would somebody experience gastritis? Why would somebody experience burning? Why would somebody experience burping? This manifestation of the end result will be dependent on the causative factor of your Udavarta to start with. Did I confuse anybody with this statement? The opposite flow of Vayu will be caused because of different reasons. It could be because of constipation, could be because of any blockage that's happening, fibroids or anything that's happening and your wind is not flowing downwards. Depending on that causative factor, then your manifestation will be different. Now, there's a question here. Let's see what's going on. Recording. Yes, we will be sharing. There's a YouTube recording that we will be sharing with all the attendees. That's not a problem. So now, what are the causes of this Udavarta? Anybody who has attended my previous classes, can you tell me? Yes, it can also cause acidity. That is one of the things that we were talking about, GERD and gastritis and all of that. It will cause acidity as well. So those of you who have been attending my classes in the past, we spoke about different urges that we should not suppress. You remember any of these urges? What's the number? Do you remember the number of urges that we should not suppress? You did not think there would be a, oh my God, Trini wins the cup. 13, very good. He has been very diligent. Good job. So he's being your all of your representative. Yes. So 13 urges. These are our daily things. What are the 13 urges? I mean, at least tell me a few, like the common things that you can remember. These 13 urges that you should not suppress.
Burp,
These,
throw up,
correct. Vomiting.
cough, sneeze.
I hope you're not using ChatGPT.
Oh, no.
It's
You're
your own
right in front of
ChatGPT.
me.
Very good. Very good that you're in front of you. It's coming out of here. Because I'll tell you why. Because last time I was telling them something in a class, I was teaching them something. They're like, you're saying something, but ChatGPT is not agreeing with what you're saying. I'm like, I don't know. This is what Ashtanga Hridayam has told me. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if ChatGPT is updated or not. I'm just kidding, Bhavini. Good.
Urine and motion.
Urine and bowel movement, correct?
Yeah, and I don't know the remaining.
Okay.
Emotions, right? Like shouldn't suppress
Yeah,
kindness.
bowel movement. You cannot suppress that. That is correct. So
Oh, I meant like emotions. Like, aren't you sleep and
sleep is not an emotion.
no, sleep is definitely not a
Sleep is a physical urge. Sleep is not an emotion. But emotion, in the sense you're talking about, so absolutely, emotion is something that you should not. Charaka has said something about if there is a physical urge, then you don't suppress them. These are 13 physical urges he's talking about. Mental urges are different. Mental urges are, if you want to yell at someone, if you want to scream at someone, and these are all the mental urges. And he's actually said that we should control them. It does not mean that you're suppressing them. You are channeling them.
What about tears, like crying, that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. That's also there.
I think yawning is one of them too, right?
Yawning is one of them. Absolutely right. That's true. So collectively, you're all getting there. There's sneezing also.
Yeah, so how many are over?
Anger.
Anger is again a mental
Emotion.
urge. It is not a physical urge. Anger is not a physical urge. So sleep is one of them. Cough is one of them. And then we spoke about bowel movements,
urine.
urination.
Is itching comes under the
Itching is actually a manifestation of stopping your urge to vomit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Very common things that we're forgetting are burping and passing gas as well, are very, very normal urges that we have that we suppress a lot. These are common things that we actually suppress.
Yeah, I posted on chat.
Oh, you did. Sorry. I'm missing that. Okay, good. Gas, vomiting, correct. So gas, burping, and also gas passing, downward movement. Another very, very important thing as well is Kshudha Vega is what we call it, which is the reason why we're seeing, especially in teens, we see a lot of suppression of eating, right? They don't eat. I see that a lot. And even thirst, suppressing your thirst. And another important thing is ejaculation. That's also, I mean, either forcefully creating an urge or forcefully suppressing an urge. Or it's also heavy or fast breathing. This is the last one. So we've covered all 13 with all of this. So what are all of they? We start with Nidra Vega Shamaswasa. There is actually a sutra, and that's how I remember it. If not, it's going to be difficult for us to remember also. Urination, defecation, passing gas, vomiting, sneezing, belching, yawning. You're not even Shuddha Vega. And then there is Trishna Vega, which is not drinking when you're thirsty. And then there is crying. And then there is sleep. And then fast and heavy breathing. And reproductive juices, the ejaculation as well. So these are the 13 that you should not suppress. This urge comes like a tide. And when that tide is coming, and when that's the wind element that's creating this urge, right? When you have that, you notice this yourself. When you have hunger urge at one point of time. It's at a peak. And notice that if you don't give food, that dies down. So you've lost that opportunity. Now, if you give food, your digestive juices are not there, and you've created it without. Just yesterday, I've actually had a friend of mine who's experienced a lot of a burning sensation, and it was more like a globus where she couldn't even swallow, and she was experiencing a lot of discomfort. And I was like, what happened? She did not eat for about 24 hours. I mean, unintentionally, she went to a party and she didn't eat there, and she came here for puja. She did not eat for 24 hours. And then, which means she suppressed her Kshuddha Vega, which is her suppression of hunger. Then she ate some tamarind rice, which is very, very sour. That actually created an Udavarta. Things came upwards, and then it got stuck right here as a globus. She could not talk, and there is a lot of discomfort. And what has helped her was, I just gave her some ajwain seeds to chew upon along with salt, and gave her just ajwain water to drink, like the hot tea along with ajwain. What are the properties of that? The properties of that are hot, and it causes what we call anulomana. I'm going to introduce this new terminology for you. I'm going to type right here. Anulomana, which is bringing things downwards. Salt has this ability of bringing things downwards. Along with the ajwain seeds that I've given her, things were coming downwards, and she was able to burp. When she started burping, that stuck gas that was there, then she started feeling better. And then she was like, okay, suddenly I start feeling better. This is Udavarta. This is an incident of how it was happening, like once in a while. And we see this a lot of times when we eat food, and then that doesn't get digested, and then the air is not flowing downwards. And the air that's supposed to flow downwards goes up, and you suddenly feel so full until that defecation happens, or until you feel that stuck food is going in a different direction. Now, what if you experience constant globus, constant acidity? Do you know that out of these 13 urges, and we spoke about this last time, out of these 13 urges, many of them are actually a reason for heart conditions. The suppression of many of them, they're giving us many different kinds of heart conditions because of this. Because we spoke about how this wind is very, very powerful. It can go and affect even the organs that are hidden. And we spoke about how our heart is a marmasthana, which is a very, very hidden position. And because of the intensity of the vata and the subtlety. See, do any of you do not know this Indian god Hanuman? You know Hanuman, right? Most of you, I'm assuming. I'm seeing all the names here. I don't see, maybe Sabina does not. I don't know. Sabina does not. I was thinking. So Sabina, one of the god, if you, this is mythological figure that's told to us from ancient Indian history. Hanuman is a god of wind power. He has a lot of wind power. He was mighty, and with this wind power, he can go anywhere very quickly. He was able to cross the ocean with his mighty power. And that is only because of his wind power. So this is how powerful your wind is. Imagine a hurricane right now, and it can wipe off everything in seconds. That powerful things can be. Now, if you're experiencing that powerful wind, then that can go and hit any of your hidden organs. And this can be a reason for cardiac arrest. This can be a reason for heart failure as well. This can be a reason for many, many different conditions of heart health. Yeah. That is how powerful Udavarta is. Any questions so far? Then we can talk about what we need to do to prevent it.
Are allergies
like to-
also a vata imbalance, and is it caused by any of these urge issues?
All right, let me understand your question, Preeti. Are you saying that is vata imbalance caused because of these urge suppressions?
No, that's a good question. I actually that we can answer that. Plus also allergies, right? Now it's allergy season.
Oh, allergic reaction.
Is that also because like we suddenly I don't know, sometimes these new allergies pop up which you never had in your childhood even.
Right.
And is that also related to some of these suppressions?
Understood. To an extent, like Bhamini was pointing, the first thing that she pointed was vomiting. A lot of times, if there is if you have nausea, motion sickness mainly, when you have motion sickness growing up, and if you've taken a lot of antiemetics, which is suppressing that urge of motion sickness or suppressing the urge of throwing up, then these toxins can travel laterally and store in your skin region. That's when allergic reaction can develop. That's number one. That's one of the things that can happen, which did not happen growing up, because that at that time, all of the toxins are in the middle region, in your koshtha is what we call, in your digestive area. And you were suppressing because you didn't want throw up to happen. I'm not saying you, Preeti, but in general, I'm talking about if that is happening, then things will travel laterally because toxins play hide and seek. If we're suppressing it, they have to find a different area. They will move from the central area to the lateral area. That's when allergic reaction can pop up, which can pop up later in life. Number two, normally and very, very commonly seen allergic reactions are because of what we call rakta dushti, which is a vitiation of your blood. If there are any problems happening because of, eating lots of tomatoes, eating lots of salty, sour, and spicy foods, lot of anger, and a lot of cheese. So if these causative factors are there, then Rakta Dushti can happen, and this can be a causative factor for developing allergic reactions later. Because we're talking more of Vata, suppression of Vata typically is not the main reason for developing allergies. Rakta Dushti is the main reason. But suppressing of the vomiting urge can create a Vata imbalance and can create an allergic reaction. Does that answer your question, Preeti?
So what I'm understanding is that vomit is one of the urges that if suppressed can cause allergies. So that is the one.
Correct. or any upward movement, gastritis, GERD, acidity. If we're used to using any PPIs, proton pump inhibitors to stop any of that urge, then the toxins can travel laterally, and then that can also eventually lead to allergies. Or even asthma. A lot of times you will see this. Kids who has a lot of asthma can also have, you'll see hide and seek between asthma and eczema. You'll notice that also. And then an allergic reaction can develop in the later stages. So any of these upward movement that is suppressed can lead to a lateral movement of doshas, and thus development of these allergic reactions.
Wow. So even like I know that, some of these medicines are prescribed, right, for asthma or
Correct.
even for allergies also, like using Flonase and other things actually suppresses
Mhm,
that. It
mhm,
can only, it can aggravate even more. the
mhm,
other.
mhm. So they're only hiding until you find a different causative factor for this hidden toxins to be exhibited. Now, Mamta is asking, how about seasonal allergy? Seasonal allergy is what, I mean, when you're exposed to pollen or when their season changes, your body is made conducive to get allergies, to see allergies. So your body already is having that environment. Now, addition of this pollen will create symptoms like sneezing, or will create symptoms of redness, or will create symptoms of mucus and all of this. So seasonal allergy is only an additional causative factor. It is always only when it reacts with the body which is conducive to allergies is when allergies can happen. So you still have to look at, okay, am I pooping properly? Is my digestion working properly? Am I sleeping properly? These are all the things that you should look at before taking in the Zyrtec or before taking the Flonase. Flonase is a steroidal inhaler. What does the steroid do? Which can suppress things. Zyrtec is an antihistamine. It's telling, okay, histaminic reaction should not happen. It's dumbing down the body's intelligence, saying that you don't tell the body that something wrong is going on in the body. Right? Of course, once in a while, if you have to go to a party, or if you cannot manage once in a while, it's okay, but that cannot be an everyday management. Yeah. So that's that. Now let's talk about, if we're all clear about the concept of Udavarta, now that we're talking about more of Udavarta, how Udavarta is created. The main causative factor of Udavarta is definitely natural urges suppression is the main causative factor.
It's
And then,
good, right?
Priya, I think I'm going to mute you. So natural urges suppression is one causative factor. And then also your the digestion not happening properly, and a constant constipation that is happening. I was just talking to someone this morning, and she said that she was traveling with her friends, with her childhood friends after a long time. And she said, oh my God, I didn't realize that I'm traveling with friends who don't poop for a week, and they all think that it's normal. And she was so proud of herself. She was like, I can poop every day, and that I'm doing yoga every day. I was so proud of myself that I could talk about it. But then that has become very, very normal for people don't think that going every day is a normal thing. So those are all the things that that's the second reason that can be a reason for Udavarta. Then taking long-term medication usage. Taking a long-term medication usage can also be a causative factor for Udavarta, because you are creating a base and you're not bringing things out of the body. You are only hiding things. That is also a third causative factor for Udavarta. And you are also not digesting things properly. I mean, elimination is one thing, and you're not digesting things properly is the fourth causative factor. When all of these causative factors are taken care of, once we know the causative factors, then we know that we have to remove all of these causative factors. We have to take care of these first. Then we'll talk about how to take care of it. Yes, Devanti.
So I had read somewhere, right, that, or and actually had gone to an Ayurvedic practitioner, and she was also saying that different doshas kind of handle or are able to ignore certain urges better than others. So for example, like if you're very sort of pitta predominant and you have something to do, you know, you're like, it'll be easier for you to ignore hunger and thirst and just kind of keep, you know, things like that. Versus someone who is maybe a different dosha might have more challenges with it. So I guess given that there are these sort of dosha specific differences in the way we experience urges and maybe even have a connection to the body and listen to the body or don't listen to the body, you know, do you have suggestions on kind of how to, is it just a matter of scheduling in time, you know, for a pitta?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, with the dosha imbalances, for all of you, Debanti's question is, you know, if you're a Vata personality, you can have an erratic hunger schedule. You will not have a normal hunger schedule. I mean, Vata personality is if you have a imbalanced Vata. If you have a balanced Vata, then you will not have an erratic schedule. You're talking about imbalanced doshas. How can you handle the urges for an imbalanced doshic type? Now, if there is a Vata imbalance, and if there is a, you know, where this imbalance of Vata is creating an erratic hunger schedule, then how do you manage the urge suppression, all of that? Or if there is a Pitta imbalance, where there is a lot of fire happening and you're hungry every 2 hours, where there's Tikshnagni, then how do you handle that? And if there's a Kapha imbalance. Now, for all of this question, Debanti, the first thing I would say is take care of the nagging child. Nagging child is the dosha. You want to make sure that you are bringing that dosha to balance first. So that is how you're going to create the Udavarta. You're not going to chase after the urges at that point. You're going to chase the balance, the imbalance first. If your imbalance is your Vata, then you want to make sure that you're oiling properly, or you're eating properly, or you're sleeping properly, or you're taking care of the Vata properly, so that your erratic hunger schedule is fixed first before you stop the urge schedule. Even Pitta, it's the same thing. If you're experiencing extreme hunger, you want to make sure you tame your hunger. Or the same thing with your Kapha. If you're not hungry, you know, even in 24 hours, then you want to make sure that you kindle that fire. So the first thing in that case is to take care of your dosha, bring that back to balance. Then you know that what your proper schedule is. Then it would be easier for you to manage your urges. Yeah. Okay, Giri, the question is, how about allergic reactions like hives? If antihistamine should not be taken, what to do when such allergic reaction happen? So Giri, the answer for that is, if an allergic reaction is happening, hives, etc., in Ayurveda, we do have some things that can be done, you know, like taking even just Triphala decoction at that time, making Triphala decoction and making sure that the pitta that is causing this hives is going out of the body. That can also reduce your hives. And again, I'm not saying I want you to self-medicate, but I'm saying that there are things that can be done. And there's something called, you know, Haridra, that is turmeric, that is available. Haridra Khanda, along with, it's a different formulation that is made. That is also very powerful because, like Preeti was asking earlier, what is the cause for this? Rakta Dushti. We're taking care of Rakta at that time. So we are able to take care of that as well with Haridra Khanda. Or there is something called applying mustard oil. That also takes care of hives. These are all the things. Mahamarichyaadi Tailam is what it's called. We apply that, and that also takes, again, it all depends upon what is the dosha that is involved that is creating these hives. We have to assess it and then we never have a particular medication for a particular condition. If that is happening, then you're just treating the condition and not treating the person. So the first thing is, you want to make sure why this person is experiencing hives, and you don't train the soldier in the war. You have to be prepared for the war ahead of time. You never know when it happens. So you're preparing all the time before even spring happens or before even you have an allergic reaction. And then you'll be able to manage it at that time. I hope that answers your question, Girish. If we shouldn't suppress urges like vomiting, fever, etc. by taking, should we just go through it and tolerate it when they occur? No, absolutely not. So again, it all depends on what is causing the vomiting. If this vomiting is so severe that it is creating a lot of balahani, which is squeezing off your energy fully, then you have to replenish with proper electrolytes. Again, I'm not asking you to drink Gatorade and such during that time, which is a normal thing that's given, that if indigestion is happening, that's creating even more indigestion if you do that. But there are protocols that can be followed. I am not saying you have to tolerate it at all. I know we spoke about all of these urges in a class, and I think we spoke about it in detail. If we have to answer that question, we will definitely answer it again. But I'm not saying that you should suffer through it. You have to absolutely understand what the root cause is. Fever. Is the fever caused because you were staying up for 3 days in a row and you were studying all night long? Or is the fever because you were out in a cold night eating ice creams? Or is the fever because you were traveling so much and that's what caused fever? So what is the root cause of your fever? And then you address it accordingly. There are so many things, there were so many protocols that can be done. You will not be, you're not suppressing them, but you are making sure that you're addressing it. That's how you handle them. So taming your hunger, Bhamini, is making sure that you are giving, there are things like bringing things which is forest fire. There's a forest fire and there is a kitchen fire. What's forest fire used for? It's burns. Kitchen fire is used for cooking. What are ways that you can tame your forest fire into kitchen fire? Drinking coriander water, soaking coriander seeds, 1 tablespoon coriander seeds in about 2 cups of water, soak it, squeeze it, filter it, and drink that. That will bring your pitta down. That is something that you can do. Or pomegranate juice is going to be very good. Or soaking raisins overnight. And have a fistful raisins, soak that overnight, drink that water along with eating that raisins. So these are all multiple things. And amla is a very good thing. If you want to, take dried amla, which does not have any spices in it, just chewing on that dried amla is good, or even amla churna. These are all the things that you can incorporate to tame your hunger. Again, I'm just giving you generalized version, but then we have to see what the individual causes is and then give it accordingly. Okay. Now going back to how to handle Udavarta. What are the things that we should do? What are the things that you should do on a daily basis so that you don't end up in Udavarta, end up in suffering from Udavarta? What's my favorite thing? Now that we spoke about what are the causative factors, what is one favorite thing that you should do so that Udavarta does not happen? Debanti is saying something. She's my every time attendee, and that's why she feels the pressure also. Oh my God, I have to answer this question.
Drink water.
Drink water. Okay.
You talk a lot about Abhyanga. That was what I was going to say.
Very good. Debanti understands me very, very well. That's my favorite out of all, because Vata, you're bringing Vata downwards. So 10 on 10, you got all the stars. Good. So Abhyanga, applying oil, is one thing that I have to do actually now, because I've been, again, I told you what I'm going to do for the next, so I have to make sure that I do that. So applying oil all over your body because things are going upwards. Snehana and Svedana are 2 things that is going to, what are the qualities of Vata? Air and space element. When this air and space element is aggravated so much, then the best thing that you do is Abhyanga. And if you're able to do a warm shower right after that, that is going to create Svedana also. And we spoke about how to do Abhyanga in the previous classes, but if you have any questions, you can definitely ask me. But applying warm oil, and then, however, what are the contraindications for that? If you're experiencing indigestion, or if you're experiencing vomiting, diarrhea, or any of the, or suffering from any infection, cold, any of that, stay away from Abhyanga fully. This will only aggravate your situation. So do not do that if you're experiencing any of that. Now, number 2. My second favorite thing is to have only 2 meals a day. But proper meals, proper 2 meals a day. Because in the meantime, you're giving gap. You're giving the processing time for your digestive tract so that there is no things that are stuck in there. And it will allow for peristalsis to happen the way it is supposed to happen. And you would have created that proper acting factory in the body. So eating a very, very light breakfast and a very warm, nourishing, heavy meals, not heavy, but 3/4 your capacity for lunch, and then eating proper dinner. With, you can eat like a soup along with some grain at about 7 p.m. That if you maintain on a daily basis, that also is going to be a beneficial thing. Yeah, that's my number 2 thing. Number 3 is definitely the easiest, but the thing that we never do, the thing that we most of the time don't do. What is that? My favorite also. Number 3.
Drink enough water.
I know all of you are talking about water, but
Have a good sleep.
absolutely. Bhamini also gets 10 on 10 stars. She's been attending some of my classes now. Very, very important. That is how you're nourishing yourself. That is how you're calming down the hurricane that is happening inside. How many times have you slept very well and you woke up with no headache at all? That's a repair system that you're creating inside the body. The 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. we speak about that free radical cleansing time. That is something that I want to remind you of as well. That's number 3. And number 4 is including foods that are easy to digest and including the type of foods that are easy to digest, a type of formulations that are easy to digest, which is if you're experiencing GERD or acidity, let's say, right? Then I know you're talking about water, and that's why I want to talk about all of this. Why are you all talking about water? You're thinking that water is bringing down things, and that's why you're all thinking about water. Now, water, in the name of water, a lot of times people say, drink as much water. Water will flush things out. Water will flush things out. But remember that water can also create a lot of flood in the body. We don't want the flood to be created. We don't want it to be suppressing the fire that we have. We don't want it to be diluting the enzymes that we have. We want to drink as much water as much as our thirst requires. But bringing things down, you want to eat easy to digest foods like soups. That is my favorite that you can do with garlic in it. If you're able to eat. I know for religious reasons, a lot of you don't eat onion and garlic, but garlic is a very, very good anti-vata agent. If you're able to add good amount of, cut down garlic and then fry it very well, add all the vegetables, especially squashes, so that is nourishing, or lentils, and then cook it very, very well, make it into a soup and consume that. It's nourishing, warm, easy to digest, and brings vata downwards. So these kind of foods also are going to allow for udavarta not to be continuing on a long-term basis. Yeah, this is the 4th thing. Now, 5th thing I'm going to talk about is giving good internal oleation also. Udavarta happens if there is a lot of dryness or a lot of depletion that's happening. For that to be addressed, you want to include proper lubrication internally. The proper lubrication that you can give internally is by giving ghee internally, or warm milk can also be given. Again, if milk is not something that you can tolerate, you can always dilute milk, warm it, add some dry ginger powder in it. That's one way that you can consume it. But include ghee in your diet so that lubrication can happen. And imagine yourself that the hurricane is coming up and you're lubricating, and because of that lubrication, all of this roughness and the dryness is going to be lubricated and things will go downwards. You're creating a pathway for peristalsis to happen. You're creating a pathway for this food to travel the way it is supposed to travel. So these are all the 5 things that you can follow. And I guarantee that you will never have to worry about Udavarta that's going to happen sometime later. Again, the causative factors we spoke about. You want to take care of the causative factors. You want to make sure that you are not doing any of that causative factors. But otherwise, these are the 5 things that are going to be very, very beneficial that you can follow. Yeah. Any questions that you have in general, you're more than welcome to ask. I have 10 more minutes. I wanted to just introduce the topic of Udavarta and tell you what are the causative factors and what is it that we can do to overcome all of that. Again, this is a very, very, important thing that we should follow on a daily basis. It's not like when I have hives, I'll do it. When I have an allergic reaction, you do it. You are going to be armed to face a war all the time. Can ghee be used to reduce symptoms? It all depends. If you're experiencing Udavarta at the time, if you're experiencing it, like I said yesterday, if it's because of digestion, then ajwain tea or ginger tea is going to be amazingly beneficial. You can take 1 teaspoon of ajwain in 2 cups of water, boil it down, and you filter that and sip on that. Because of that heat and because of the digestive ability of it, it will bring things down. Or you can do something called a Nabhi Purana, which is applying castor oil into your umbilicus. Or even rubbing castor oil onto your stomach and putting a hot pack on top of that. These are all the things. Or even applying a hing paste, making a paste with water and applying it on your abdomen. These are all the things that can be done to address. Again, we have to see what are the symptoms that you're experiencing based upon the symptoms that we can see. But ghee, I would not say reduce symptoms. It is something that you would want to use on a daily basis so that you will not experience symptoms. At home, irrespective of the season, maybe twice a week. Yes, Priya, you can do Abhyanga again, making sure that you're doing it on a empty stomach. And you're not doing it at night, and you don't do it during your periods. If you follow mainly, and don't do it when you're sick. If you follow all of this, absolutely okay. Why twice a week? Do it every day, if you're able to. Yeah, no night, because night is for the channels to be closed. You don't want to be doing it in the night. You want to be doing it in the morning. Yeah, so Mamta, high cholesterol and Vata imbalance, you will be surprised that I see a lot of very, very lean people also. And with Vata, they have high cholesterol. This can be because of indigestion. And because of that indigestion, they could be experiencing high cholesterol. Then we give medicated ghee so that that ghee will not be causing any imbalance. We medicate that ghee. And that medication is going to be beneficial for reducing the symptoms. And ghee is then used to be reducing the Vata. So medicated ghee, especially Dadimadi Ghritam, Indukantam Ghritam, these are all the things that we give for such kind of people. Is mustard oil massage okay for Pitta disposition? I would not recommend at all, Jayaditi. Mustard oil is mainly beneficial for Kapha and Vata also, but not at all for Pitta. Don't even say that word for Pitta people. Different oils, ghee and navel oiling for different things. Yeah, so navel oil is something that you can do. Dhanvantaram Tailam is generally beneficial for everybody. That is for Vata imbalance, and especially if period pains and such, you could use Dhanvantaram Tailam, or even Eranda Tailam, which is castor oil, is something that you can definitely use in the navel. And all you have to do is in the middle of the night, in the night before you go to bed, you can put just 2 drops into the oil, or even sesame oil, plain sesame oil for that matter. That's okay. Because you have all the nadis that are emerging from your nabhi. All the channels are emerging from your umbilicus. All the subtle channels are emerging from there. And you want all that subtle channels to be to receive all the nourishment. And that's why this navel oiling is going to be beneficial. Lack of dairy cause vata imbalance. It can, Varun, because you're not giving a proper lubrication, and that can increase air element. Periodontitis, do you have a permanent cure in Ayurveda? I would never, say that Ayurveda can cure anything. I never use the term cure at all. We can always manage things. We can always reduce the doshas. And because of that reason, your periodontitis can definitely be taken care of. And we have seen that in the past very, very well. You'll be surprised that a lot of gut is involved with periodontitis, because there's a lot of, you're creating an environment in the gut, and that gut health, actually a dentist, I do work with a lot of dentists, they do say that if you do a culture, you will see a lot of growth of krimi in your gums, and that comes from indigestion. So we give a lot of digestive things to take care of indigestion along with local. You cannot just give local treatment for periodontitis. We have to go sukshma, subtle, and then give local treatment also. Yeah, absolutely. We take care of periodontitis as well a lot of times. Again, it all depends on the causative factors. It all depends on how the client is, following everything to the T and everything. Sinus could be one of the causes, especially if you are suppressing a lot of, cold symptoms that are happening. Then sinus things are coming upwards, the mucus is coming upwards, and that can be a cause of Udavarta. But then mainly it is cold and mucus and kapha that you have to take care of at this point. You have to melt a lot of things here. So you want to make sure that you're melting and you're bringing things downwards. That can also, that is something that you want to take care of. So you steam and make sure that the channels are all opened up. But typically, sinus is not only because of Udavarta, but it is mainly because of a lot of cold accumulation, a lot of kapha accumulation.
This will help. Nasya helps.
Again, it can help or it can hurt also, because I wouldn't know where the sinus is coming from. If the sinus is because, so a lot of times, Bhamini, I'll see that sinus is causing also because of a lot of indigestion. You'll be surprised. If I take care of indigestion that's happening in the abdomen, then your sinus will also be taken care of, really. But if this is because of, like a seasonal thing, or you would have eaten some foods, then you can just do like a nasal rinse, or like a neti pot you can do, and you can steam. And my favorite is ginger juice with honey, or even you can take sitapaladi and all of that. Then that can be taken care of. Do proper, this is a vata kapha kind of a condition, because kapha is there and vata is blocking it. So it's a vata kapha kind of condition. So you want to do a lot of snehana and svedana for this also, which means you can apply eucalyptus oil, warm eucalyptus oil all over your face, and then do a facial steamer. That will open up a lot of things. Then take ginger juice with honey. Sorry, write down the name. Which one? I don't remember now. Can castor oil and hing paste be applied around the navel the night before sleep and during periods? Okay, so castor oil is possible. Hing paste is not necessary during periods, before sleep. Castor oil, absolutely you can do. Ginger juice with honey for drinking, yes. So this ginger juice is, you cut ginger into small pieces, pound it, squeeze it, take 1/4 teaspoon of this juice, along with 1 teaspoon of honey, mix it very well and take it. It has the tangy taste. And this is going to be able to melt the sinuses down. And you can do that twice a day until your sinuses feel better. Yeah. Good. A good discussion today.
Manju,
Yes,
question
Tejvi.
on the Pada Abhyanga, can that be done during this time, this season, every night?
just the
Oh
feet?
yeah, Padabhyanga is absolutely okay. Any
Okay.
season is okay. Even
Okay,
in
throughout the year.
even in spring and summer right now, Padabhyanga is absolutely okay. General
Okay.
Abhyanga throughout the body, because your channels are closing, you don't want to. Padabhyanga is actually recommended in the night so that you
Yeah.
can sleep well.
Yeah, I noticed I just started doing it and it's really it has a huge impact. So I wanted to check.
Absolutely. Absolutely very, very good. Padabhyanga, and even she can do Shiro Abhyanga also, but not every night. But you can do
Mhm.
Shiro Abhyanga as well. Padabhyanga and Shiro Abhyanga are something that you can do, but not the all over the body,
All
because that's
body.
when your channels are closing.
Correct. And then the Nabhi thing, that can also be done in the night occasionally
Yes,
or
every day is okay. Nabhi Purana,
every day is okay?
1 to
Okay.
2 drops of sesame oil every day is absolutely okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Very, very good discussion today. And we'll see what other topics will come up next time. And if you have any questions, we can just have like a Q&A session where most of you see me a lot of times. And if you have any questions that come up, you can absolutely ask me and we will talk about all of that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manchia.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining, Kamini.
Yeah.
Thank you
Bye.
all, and see you all next month. I'll
Okay.
go back to my, Vata, grounding myself this week. See you all next month. Bye.